Welcome. Today we're diving into the Big Beautiful Bill of 2025. This landmark piece of legislation represents a sweeping set of changes already reshaping American life, impacting communities and individuals across the nation. This isn't just another law, it's a comprehensive and multifaceted initiative. It's a massive overhaul that touches everything from your paycheck, influencing how much you take home, to your healthcare, affecting access and affordability. Supporters call it a bold leap for prosperity, a necessary step to stimulate the economy and create opportunities for all, while critics warn of unintended consequences that could last generations, potentially exacerbating existing inequalities and creating new challenges. At its core, the bill introduces major tax cuts, altering the tax landscape for individuals and corporations alike, boosts military spending, allocating significant resources to national defense, and overhauls social safety net programs, sparking debate about the role of government in supporting vulnerable populations. Its name, Big Beautiful Bill, was carefully chosen to project optimism and strength, aiming to inspire confidence in the future. Proponents say it will spark economic growth and create jobs, leading to increased prosperity and a higher standard of living. But the reality is more complex, with potential winners and losers in the economic reshuffling. Months of fierce debate and compromise, involving passionate arguments and difficult negotiations, produced a law that's both ambitious and controversial, reflecting the diverse perspectives and priorities of the American people. For some, it's a long-awaited victory, a fulfillment of campaign promises and a step towards a brighter future. For others, a source of deep concern about inequality and debt, raising questions about fairness and long-term sustainability. The rules are changing. Prepare for a shift in the landscape. Your taxes and how they're calculated, your access to government programs and the support they provide, and your local job market may all be affected, creating new opportunities and challenges for workers. This isn't just politics. It's personal. It's about your family's budget and future, and the choices you'll need to make in the years ahead. Over the next few scenes, we'll delve into the details. We'll break down the bill's key parts and what they mean for you, providing clear and concise explanations. Let's look beyond the headlines and the political rhetoric and see how this legislation is already impacting everyday Americans, from small business owners to working families. Whether you're in a bustling city or a close-knit small town, the effects are real and immediate, shaping the economic landscape and impacting daily lives. The Big Beautiful Bill is more than words on paper. It's a catalyst for change. It's changing the way we live, work, and plan for the future. Understanding it is essential for planning your future, making informed decisions, and navigating the evolving economic environment. Let's get started on this journey of understanding. The Big Beautiful Bill's impact is far from uniform. It depends heavily on where you live and the economic landscape of your community. In cities, the permanent corporate tax cuts are acting as a catalyst, fueling new investments in infrastructure and technology, expansions in the tech sector, and the creation of high-paying jobs that attract talent from across the nation. Urban professionals are likely to see promotions and raises, reflecting the increased profitability and growth of their companies, as companies grow and expand their operations in response to the favorable tax environment. But in rural America, the story is markedly different, a stark contrast to the urban boom. While subsidies for agriculture and traditional energy sources do provide some relief, helping a segment of the population, many feel increasingly left behind, watching the economic divide widen. Small towns express concerns that the majority of the benefits from this bill flow disproportionately to large corporations, rather than supporting local businesses, family farms, and the backbone of their communities. A city engineer, for instance, might celebrate a booming job market and new infrastructure projects, while a rural farmer grapples with hospital cuts, limited access to healthcare, and an uncertain future for their livelihood. The bill, in effect, deepens the divide, exacerbating the existing gap between urban prosperity, characterized by growth and opportunity, and rural struggle, marked by decline and limited resources, ultimately favoring established economic powerhouses and further consolidating wealth in urban centers. Critics argue that it widens the gap between the haves and have-nots, leaving many rural communities feeling adrift and disconnected from the nation's overall economic progress. One of the bill's most controversial changes is to SNAP and Medicaid. Millions now face stricter work requirements to keep food and health benefits. Supporters say this encourages self-sufficiency and connects people to jobs. Critics warn it punishes those facing real barriers, like lack of childcare, transportation, or chronic health issues. For many, these new rules are an impossible hurdle, risking loss of essential support. Imagine a single mom juggling work and childcare, or a laid-off worker with health problems. Both could lose coverage. The result, more stress and tough choices for America's most vulnerable. The bill makes two priorities clear: a stronger military and permanent corporate tax cuts. Defense spending surges, funding new weapons, and expanding America's global presence. Supporters say this ensures security and leadership. Critics see it as money diverted from education, infrastructure, and research. Corporate tax cuts are locked in, giving big companies more to invest, reward shareholders, or buy back stock. Military contractors and large corporations are the biggest winners. Every dollar spent here is a dollar not spent elsewhere, raising questions about national priorities. Critics argue this focus comes at the expense of average Americans. The debate is about more than numbers. It's about the nation's values. The bill's deep tax cuts and spending increases are driving the national debt to new heights. Supporters claim economic growth will offset the debt, but critics and many economists warn it's unsustainable. As debt rises, so do interest payments, leaving less for roads, research, or emergencies. Future generations may face higher taxes or painful cuts to programs like Social Security and Medicare. High debt could mean higher interest rates for everyone and less flexibility in a crisis. The choices made today will shape the country's financial future for decades. The debate: prosperity now or fiscal risk for tomorrow? So, what does the big beautiful bill really mean for you, the average American citizen? It's a question worth exploring, as this piece of legislation has the potential to touch many aspects of our lives. If you work in the defense sector, perhaps building the next generation of military technology, or if you're employed by a large corporation, driving innovation and economic growth, you might see more opportunities for advancement, new projects on the horizon, and a generally brighter outlook for your career. The bill could stimulate growth in these sectors, and potentially a lower tax bill, leaving more money in your pocket at the end of the year. High earners, those in the upper income brackets, stand to benefit the most directly from certain provisions within the bill. But for low-wage workers, those struggling to make ends meet, for single parents juggling multiple responsibilities, and for people with disabilities relying on crucial support systems, the bill could unfortunately lead to a reduction or even loss of vital support programs that they depend on. In many smaller communities, particularly those in rural areas, the promised job growth and economic revitalization may simply not materialize, leaving them further behind. All the while, schools and hospitals already stretched thin may face further budget cuts, impacting the quality of education and healthcare available. Ultimately, everyone, regardless of their background or economic status, will feel the impact of this bill in some way, most notably through the rising national debt that it is projected to create. This could manifest through higher interest rates on loans and mortgages, or through tough choices that families will have to make when managing their budgets down the road. The bill forces us to ask some fundamental questions about our priorities and values. What kind of country do we truly want to be? And what kind of future are we building for ourselves and for generations to come? Do we prioritize continued military expansion and unchecked corporate growth, focusing on short-term economic gains? Or do we choose to invest in strengthening our social safety nets, providing support for those who need it most, and building a sustainable future for all? The future isn't set in stone. It's still being written. Your voice, your participation, and your engagement in the democratic process truly matters in shaping what comes next for our nation.